All right, I want you to put 4-3, GCF and the distributive property, on page 28 in your table of contents. All right, the only difference here is in 4-2, we were given two numbers, just two numbers, and it said find the GCF of 36 and 48, okay? The way this is going to happen, now you remember me telling you about the little sub-standards? This one just happens to be C. Express the sums of two whole numbers, each less than or equal to 100, using the distributive property to factor out the common factors of the original numbers. And I printed this for you on your paper. I can use the GCF to express two whole numbers using the distributive property. So we're not using fractions, not using decimals. Oh, and I didn't change that. Okay. Let me change that right fast. Maybe I did. No, I didn't. Let's see. More than one way to skin a cat. Let's see. Oh, here we go. Okay. I don't know how to get rid of this over here. All right, so when we are talking about using the GCF with the distributive property, we're going to be given two numbers that are either being added or subtracted, okay? And this is not on your slideshow. So I made it big so you can see it from up here, but it is on the paper on your desk. It's easier for me to go through the steps if we use an example. So let's look at this example here that is 48 and 56, okay? So if we look at 48 and 56, we are going to use the ladder method to figure out the GCF of 48 and 56. So over here to the side, I want you to write 48 and 56 and draw your first step. What can I divide 48 and 56 by? 8. 48 divided by 8 is 6. 56 divided by 8 is 7. Can we go any farther? No. So what is my GCF? My GCF is 8, okay? So my GCF goes on the outside of my parentheses. Then all you do is draw your parentheses and bring your numbers down. So over here, I've got 48 plus 56, so I keep my plus sign, and I put a 6 and a 7. Pretty easy, right? Yes, ma'am. Yeah. All right, let's try the next one. I'm going to erase this just because I wrote kind of big for y'all to be able to see. And if you remember, we did this when we talked about algebra. So we have 3 and 6. So over here to the side, yours might be down a little bit. I want you to write 3 and 6 and draw your step. What can I divide 3 and 6 by? 3. 3 divided by 3 is 1. 6 divided by 3 is 2. Can I go any farther? No. So my GCF is what? 3. And what's going to go inside my parentheses? 1 and 2. And what's my operation? Plus. So we have a 3, 1, and a 2. I want a fist of 5 of how easy you think this is. We're going to practice, okay? Because this is completely new to you, all right? The bottom part to me is easier than the top part because down here, all we're doing is giving it out, okay? Which we've done before. Did I give you one example or two? Just one? So, and I gave you the steps, but remember, we did this in chapter 1 when we talked about the distributive property and in chapter 2 when we talked about algebra. All we have to do is give out the number. Because remember, when things are stuck together in math without a symbol, what symbol is right here between the 7 and the parentheses? Multiplication. But we have to give it out. So we have 7 times 8 is 56. I'm going to tell y'all for myself, it's easier to write it underneath. Because if I write it underneath, I know all I have to do is bring down that addition sign. Now I'm going to give the 7 to the 6. 7 times 6 is 42. Pretty easy, right? Once you get the ladder method down, figuring out the distributive property is way easier, okay? Because it's just the 2 numbers that are left at the bottom, all right? So, we are going to practice. Oh.